Hey, Weather Weenies, meteorologist Serena Arnold here. We have a nor'easter on the way. Let me tell you what you need to know. Shout out to Janine, who I met in Concord today. We were at Caves Animal Hospital together. Hope your pup's doing all right. As we start getting into the fine detail, the forecast models are starting to diverge on what's happening here. So this is the GFS. Brings, a reasonable mess. I'm thinking probably a little bit less snow to southern New Hampshire, but still an incredible potential because of this secondary low that forms. And this sits here and kind of meanders around. And what that does is it brings a tremendous amount of additional snow for additional time period, specifically to southwestern and southern New Hampshire here. But this doesn't seem to be the popular run at the moment. The Euro model here does do a good job of showing you, once again, just how messy this is. I mean, look at these different colors for snow, rain, sleet, freezing rain. We're seeing just a pretty big mess here. Once again, that low that forms and kind of hangs out, but I'm at the time frame for this run. I rarely step in public when I hear people talking about the weather, and I'm like, hey, but I was at the grocery store. I was checking out Market Basket in Concord, and I had people in front of me that were like, oh, yeah, we're supposed to get 2 to 3 feet of snow here in a couple days. And I was like, hold up. Somebody's going to get a lot of snow in this storm. I will tell you that right now. But as for who right now is still really hard to tell. We know the whites are going to be like a bingo. We got that. That's fine. But what I want you to notice is like 3 to 4 in Manchester, 4 to 6 in Concord, but maybe 12 to 18 in Jaffrey and 6 to 8 in Claremont. And there's just a lot of question down here in these southern zones. This is equally true for southern Vermont, coastal Maine, especially through southern New England, where it looks like the snow chances are going to be kind of kept to the northern and western parts. Now let's talk timing. This is 15Z on Wednesday, which is 11 a.m. So Wednesday morning should be good for a lot of places, except if you're in southern Vermont or a really far western part of southern New England. After that, things get messy. If you're like Concord, New Hampshire latitude or further south, all the way down to, probably Springfield, Mass area, this is the biggest area of question. North of that, probably all snow. South of that, all rain. In the middle, though, blech. I like this graphic a lot. It shows you the probability for at least 6 inches of snow, and it shows you there's just a widespread area that has the potential where it is kind of high probability of seeing that. Forecast models have been slowing this down a little bit with every forecast run, and also looking at the dynamics of like the primary low that forms over Ohio, the secondary low that forms over like the coastal areas, and how these things are going to interact makes this incredibly messy and hard to forecast. Giving you a few snippets from the very long forecast discussion, things you need to know. The high sun angle of early April snowfall rates are going to have to be really high in order to have significant accumulation across paved surfaces. Greatest potential for rain is going to be along the coast and obviously further southern locations, including southern New Hampshire. Snow that does fall is going to be wetter and heavier than normal, which is also going to bring down accumulations. That's why some people are saying, 2 to 3 feet. They're assuming the wrong snow ratio. If you have to drive anywhere on Wednesday, the earlier do it, the better. Snowfall rates are going to increase Wednesday night as this low passes over Long Island and it deepens. It's going to allow for some stronger and heavier snows to form. And then you lose the daytime heating and the sunlight and all that, which is going to help melt all of it. So definitely Wednesday night to Thursday looks to be the messiest time for this. Easterly winds are definitely going to get stronger from Wednesday night into Thursday, especially along coastal areas. That could lead to blowing snow and possibly some power outages. And for all of us that are triggered by that, across the interior, winds won't be quite as strong, but wet heavy snow accumulation on tree limbs could very well cause power outages. Now here's what's going to make this storm interesting is it doesn't just move on after that. The dynamics of the atmosphere are causing this thing to sit there for a little while, which means it's probably going to snow most of the day Thursday, maybe have some rain mixed in with it at times in southern locations, but it's just going to continue snowing. Over a foot is absolutely possible over like interior areas and, higher elevations. So Wednesday into Thursday, definitely seeing some higher winds along the higher elevations here in the western part of New England and especially out along the Cape. GFS forecast snow totals, don't forget that solid purple line is about a foot and that peachy line is 2 feet. It's a little bullish, except for, in the whites, higher northern elevations of Maine here, maybe some higher elevations in southern Vermont. Yeah, that's fine. This in southwestern New Hampshire is going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Because in order to get that, we're going to have to not get as much rain. We're going to have to get more snow, and we're going to have a secondary heavy snow band on that Thursday day kind of form over us, which this GFS model was saying, but it's the only one hinting at that. The Euro model, which is generally more trusted in these types of scenarios, says the GFS is cray, has that rain snow line moved much, much further north and showing very, little snow for the southwestern part of New Hampshire. But once again, still seeing the usual suspects kind of pop up here. So this southwestern part of the state is really the biggest area of question, and maybe also just kind of like the northern half of Massachusetts. So going back to this map again, I think it's really good. But once again, you can see some of the discontinuity, some of the uncertainty here. It's just higher than it should be. And I care so much because a lot of you live there, but that's also where I live. And people are asking me, how much snow are we going to get here? And the forecast right now really ranges from somewhere for us between 6 and 24 inches. Nobody wants to hear that. National Weather Service is relying heavily on the Euro model, and I don't blame them for that. The question is the GFS out to lunch or is it a sleeper? Best way to tell is kind of see how the models evolve, how they do here over the next 24-ish hours. Also, I want to see what happens with the HRRR forecast model. We're too far out to see this event in that storm, but once we start getting into that, that's also going to help paint a clearer picture and is going to be a little bit of a tiebreaker. So quick review, timing of this event looks like it's going to be starting on Wednesday. The earlier, the further southwest you are. When's it going to end? Late Thursday or Friday morning. Someone's going to get 1.5 to 2 feet of snow in this, but it's really hard to say who. Snowfall maps look really good and I think are accurate with the exception of southwestern New Hampshire. There's also some slight concerns with high wind speeds Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. So if you combine that with wet, heavy snow, you could have the potential of some trees coming down, some branches falling, and power outages. Good news, though, however, is after the storm passes, it's going to be kind of cooler breezy through the weekend, but it's going to be dry and warm afterwards, and that includes the eclipse. That'll be a separate video. Stay tuned, Weather Weenies. We'll do another update as soon as I feel like I've got more information that's worthy of sharing.